Welcome to this explainer tailored specifically for the Cambridge AS and A-Level Accounting 9706 syllabus. Listen, today's focus is an absolute, undeniable cornerstone of accounting architecture. We are talking about the books of prime entry. And to make this incredibly practical, to really bring these concepts to life, I want you to imagine two student avatars working through this with us. We'll call them Alex and Sam. Now, Alex is our highly technical scholar. Alex is absolutely brilliant at formulas, ledger formatting, memorizing the rules, but sometimes struggles with the open-ended evaluation questions, the why behind the numbers. Sam, on the other hand, is our creative thinker. Sam is fantastic at seeing the big picture, building arguments, understanding the business context, but occasionally trips up on the structural precision and the strict formats that Cambridge demands. Do you recognize yourself in one of them? Maybe a bit of both? Well, together, we are going to use their strengths to dissect complex questions, master time allocation, and deploy the critical thinking strategies that Cambridge examiners are actively, almost desperately, hunting for.
You might be wondering, why are we dedicating an entire masterclass to this specific topic? Well, the sheer stakes involved here are massive. We have a quote pulled directly from the principal examiner reports, and it literally says, this topic appears in every examination series. Let that sink in for a second. Every single series. Mastering books of prime entry isn't just a recommendation or a nice-to-have skill, it is an absolute survival requirement for your Cambridge exams. Whether it sneaks up on you as a direct 15-mark numerical question, or it's buried inside a complex narrative evaluation about internal controls, it will be there. So today, we are going to look through the examiner's lens. We're going to analyze exactly where thousands of candidates globally lose precious marks year after year, and more importantly, exactly how you can avoid those exact pitfalls.
Here is our examiner's playbook for today. First, the core exam reality. Second, procedural frameworks. Third, examiner traps. Fourth, critical analysis. And fifth, our exam strategy blueprint.
Act 1. The core exam reality.
Okay, let's get right into the psychology of the exam. I want you to imagine facing a highly complex, high tariff, we're talking 9 to 15 mark prompt. It's asking you to reconstruct a general journal and then follow it up with a heavy evaluative essay. The absolutely crucial point to understand here is the method mark strategy. The biggest cognitive shift you need to make right now as an accounting student is prioritizing the process over the product. Yes, obviously, getting the final correct numerical balance in your cash book is great. We all want that. But Cambridge examiners award the vast majority of points for your accurate process and your systematic analysis. Think about it this way. If you enter a credit sale correctly into the sales journal, but then in a moment of panic, you mess up the transfer to the sales ledger, you only lose the mark for that specific transfer error. You still capture the method marks for the initial correct entry. It's like a safety net. But that net only catches you if your process is visible. Show your workings clearly, write down your narrations, clearly indicate your dates. If your process is visible on the page, the examiner can and will reward you, even if the final number is slightly off.
Now, to capture those marks, you have to understand the language of the test. Let's isolate two incredibly critical command words that trip up so many candidates: analyze versus evaluate. These are not the same thing. When Cambridge asks you to analyze the books of prime entry, they are demanding that you break down the accounting treatment factually and systematically. You need to show the mechanics. You show how a transaction moves from the source document, say an invoice, straight into the ledger. It's the how. But when the prompt says evaluate, and listen, this is the one that carries the highest tariff marks, the real big points. They are asking for a judgment. You have to weigh the pros and cons. You have to provide a supported conclusion based specifically on the context of the business scenario provided. It's the so what. Analyze is taking the engine apart to show how it works. Evaluate is deciding if that engine is actually the right fit for the specific car you've been asked to look at. You need both analysis and evaluation to survive and thrive.
Act 2. Essential procedural frameworks.
Let's bring our avatars, Alex and Sam, back into the picture. Imagine them sitting in a collaborative digital study suite, staring down a complex problem involving severe missing records. On the technical side, Alex is fiercely pushing for a purely factual execution of strict conventions. Alex is saying, no, we have to demand proper headings, we need the appropriate multi-column formats for the cash book, and we must use the correct Cambridge terminology. And honestly, Alex is entirely correct about the rules. The formatting is non-negotiable. But Sam, our creative thinker, pushes back. Sam is arguing for a broader conceptual perspective, saying, wait, we need to make cross-topic connections. We have to explain why these prime entries act as a control mechanism to prevent fraud in this specific business. They're going back and forth debating the layout of the problem. And the beautiful, brilliant reality here is that they are both entirely right.
So, the million-dollar question is, how do we merge their approaches to unlock those elusive top-tier marking bands? In Cambridge terminology, the grading is split up into assessment objectives. We have AO1 for knowledge, AO2 for application, and AO3 for analysis and evaluation. To get those highest AO3 marks, the ones that separate the A stars from the Bs, you have to establish precise definitions in perfect formatting. That's Alex's technical side. But then, you have to explain the causal relationships between the prime entries in the ledgers and integrate it with other syllabus areas exactly like Sam suggested. Combining Alex's technical precision with Sam's cross-topic contextualization is exactly the cognitive leap you need to make. It's not just knowing the rules, it's knowing how to argue why the rules matter for the business and the prompt.
Act 3. The top 3 examiner traps.
Real quick, before we dive into the absolute hardest part of this problem, if you are finding this explainer valuable and you want to be fully, completely armed for your Cambridge exams, take a second to subscribe to Ace the Exams IGCSE O and A levels right now. Make sure you enable all notifications. We drop these breakthrough strategies weekly and you absolutely cannot afford to miss them. Search for @AceTheExam_IGCSE and let's conquer these exams together.
All right, back to Alex and Sam. Let's say they are trying to draft a model written response, but things are falling apart. Their timing is totally off, their paragraphs are completely disconnected, and they are walking straight into a disaster. The principal examiner reports are practically screaming about this. Year after year, candidate after candidate, they make the exact same fatal errors. There are 3 massive roadblocks. Let's pause their session, pull apart their hypothetical draft, and see exactly what went wrong.
I'm going to step in here and show you the exact 3 traps they fell into. Trap number 1, wrong approach for the context. In their draft, they treated a cash sale of excess office equipment as if it were a routine credit sale of inventory. That is a massive fundamental mistake. You cannot push the sale of a non-current asset through the standard sales journal. Trap number 2, ignoring format and presentation. In their rush, they forgot to include the narrative in a general journal entry. Boom, method marks instantly gone. And trap number 3, perhaps the most common, providing generic, non-specific answers. In their evaluation, they wrote, "A cash book records money." Guys, that is a 0-mark sentence. It tells the examiner nothing. The examiner wants context. Let's rewrite that flawed section out loud right now. Instead of that generic nonsense, we write, "In the context of this specific retail business, the 3-column cash book efficiently captures high volumes of daily cash sales while strictly monitoring the discounts allowed to their loyal customer base." Do you hear the difference? That is an A-star, full-mark, context-driven response.
Act 4. Mastering Critical Analysis.
Welcome to our interactive pause and practice workshop. Here is your first visual challenge. Imagine a 60-second timer is ticking down. We have a text excerpt detailing a small manufacturing business that is experiencing rampant, out-of-control errors in its general ledger. Your task is to extract the context-specific data and formulate a valid reason why they need specialized books of prime entry. Now, if you just say, "It saves time," time is up, and you get 0 marks. That is entirely generic. Instead, we have to elevate it using the data. The context-specific answer is, giving the manufacturer's 100% increase in customer volume, a dedicated sales journal will significantly reduce ledger errors caused by overwhelming a single general journal with repetitive entries. See what we did there? We didn't just state a fact, we used their exact scenario, the 100% increase in volume, to justify our accounting advice. That is what Cambridge wants.
To deploy that kind of evaluative thinking systematically, you have to train your brain to do 3 distinct things. First, question assumptions. If a prompt says sales are up, does an increase in sales automatically mean their cash flow is healthy? Not necessarily. Second, consider different perspectives. How does the internal bookkeeper view the implementation of a new returns journal versus how an external auditor views it? Those are 2 different lenses. Third, justify decisions with evidence. Never ever make a claim in an essay without pointing back to a specific detail in the prompt. Linking a piece of raw numerical data to a theoretical accounting principle is the ultimate undefeated formula for capturing critical analysis marks. Let's do one more workshop. This time, I want you to play the role of the Cambridge examiner. We are doing a spot the flaw exercise. We have a poorly written student answer for a general journal entry. Can you spot the 3 exact formatting traps this student fell into? Let's dissect it together. Flaw number 1, there are no dates. Prime entry is inherently chronological. Without a date, the entry is completely useless for the audit trail. Flaw number 2, the debit and credit columns are not clearly aligned. It's sloppy and ambiguous, and examiners hate ambiguity. Flaw number 3, there is absolutely no narrative. A journal entry without a brief, clear explanation of the transaction is legally incomplete in the accounting world. Spotting these exact traps right now ensures your muscle memory kicks in and prevents you from making them under the immense pressure of the exam room.
This leads perfectly into our final piece of critical analysis, comparative analysis. Often, you'll be asked to evaluate two different accounting methods. A true comparative analysis requires identifying both similarities and differences. But here is the secret. You can't just list them like bullet points. You must use comparative connectives to weave them together. Use words like whereas, conversely, or on the other hand. Furthermore, support each side with concrete evidence from the scenario. And finally, draw a conclusion about their relative importance. You must explain why that specific difference actually matters to the financial stability of the specific business in the prompt. That's the hallmark of a top-tier scholar.
Act 5. Exam Strategy and Execution Blueprint.
By now, Alex and Sam have had their breakthrough. They understand the balance of technical precision and creative analysis. So, let's reveal the ultimate chronological execution blueprint for tackling absolutely any Books of Prime entry question flawlessly. Step 1. Deconstruct the question. Hunt for those command words and hidden constraints. Step 2. Extract relevant data. Pull the numbers and the context right out of the messy stimulus material. Step 3. Select your analytical framework. Are we analyzing or evaluating? Step 4. Execute correctly with clear, pristine notation. Step 5. Verify the results. Do a quick mental check. Does this make logical accounting sense? Step 6. Present clearly using strictly Cambridge-approved terminology. Following these 6 steps in order turns an incredibly chaotic exam prompt into a systematic, relentless march toward full marks.
To synthesize this entire masterclass, I want you to memorize these 3 core strategy pillars. Write these down. Pillar 1, the 3-step question scan. Before you write a single word, scan for the command word, the core topic, and the specific business context. Pillar 2, the paragraph balance formula. For every single evaluative essay point you make, ensure it is 1/3 knowledge, 1/3 application to the scenario, and 1/3 evaluation or judgment. Keep that balance. Pillar 3, the last 5 minutes review checklist. Do not zone out at the end of the exam. Use those final critical minutes to verify your dates, check your ledger headings, ensure narrations are present in the journal, and confirm every required format is pristine. That checklist alone, I promise you, can save you an entire grade boundary.
Crushing Cambridge exams doesn't happen by accident, and it doesn't happen overnight. It requires consistent, relentless strategy and execution. So hit that subscribe button for Ace the Exam's IGCS O and A levels at acetheexam_IGCS right now. Turn on the notification bell so you are the first to know when our next exam hack drops. And before you leave this explainer, I want you to go down to the comments section right now and declare your target grade. Just put it out there. Hold yourself accountable. Keep practicing those past papers. Trust the frameworks we built today, and I will see you in the next explainer.